Welcome to the Experts in Fire podcast by Woodland Direct. I'm Mike Vennard, and with me today is Randy Mowry. He brings 11 years of experience to Woodland Direct, and he is one of our master hearth professionals available for your fire needs. On this episode, we're going to talk about, can I put a fire pit on my wood deck? Some of the topics we're going to discuss is, what's your deck made of? Are you looking for a wood-burning fire pit or a gas-burning fire pit? And then look up, what's above your deck? Because clearances are important. Let's get into it. Let's hang out?
Let's hang out.
All right.
Nice glasses, Mike.
Thank you. You're my inspiration, brother. You are my inspiration. So if I were the customer and I came to you, Randy, and said, hey, Randy, can I put this fire pit on a deck? Where would you go with that customer?
So my response is always, well, what are we looking at first? Are you looking to burn wood and you want to put a wood-burning fire pit on your deck? Or are we going to go into gas where we're going to have propane or natural gas?
Okay, well, let's walk down both of those then. So I'm the customer. Yeah, I want to burn wood. What's the answer to that kind of question? I want to burn wood on my wood deck.
Okay. Wood-burning fire pits, they're great. You're going to have a nice big flame, ton of heat. Wood deck, the challenge with a wood deck is you have to put some type of safety barrier on your wood/Trex, decking material. They make specific fire pit pads that are rated 450 to 1400 degrees, and it has to extend out, at least 24 inches all the way around a wood burning fire pit.
So is a Trex deck is considered a wood deck as well?
It is, because it is still a combustible. It's made up of combustible materials within inside of the decking floor itself.
Okay. So
it would melt more than burn, we'll say, but it will still have a charring point.
Yep, that's a good point, because a lot of customers do call in and they're thinking, oh, it's not wood. I didn't buy 2x4s for this. I bought that Trex decking.
Exactly.
So that has a melting point as well.
It does.
Something important for them.
Yeah, the Trex deck is easier from a maintenance standpoint for folks, but you still have those elements that you have to take into consideration when putting some fire on it. It's just like a barbecue grill. If the barbecue grill is on the Trex deck and you have a fire, it's gonna melt or destroy that part of the decking as well.
Good point. So I want to put this wood burner on my wood deck. You told me I need to put some kind of barrier underneath it so that it's going to protect that. How big does that need to be? Let's say I've got a 48-inch fire pit that I want to put out there.
No, so ideally you want to be at least 24 inches all the way around that fire pit. So if you're using a 4-foot fire pit, you're going to be 2 inches on each side, like all the way around. So that 4-foot the pit itself, that space turns into 8 feet because you have 2 feet on each side, and that pad may be 1.5 inches, 2 inches thick, depending on what type of pad you get in a purchase style pad, where it comes in a roll, or it might be flat. A flat piece of material. And then the other alternative is a natural piece of stone from your landscape supplier, limestone, for example. But you also want to take into consideration, you're going to have the heat transfer to a stone. It's a natural stone. It could crack. And
it will.
And down the road, that heat could transfer to your wood deck as well. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, then you're also looking at, if you're going to use a natural stone or even something that's 8 foot by 8 foot, that's huge on a wood deck. You're going to have to support it. There are structural issues at that point, don't you think?
Yeah, it depends on the weight and what material you're using. I think more than anything, you're really changing the dynamic of the footprint, where your furniture is going to sit, a trip hazard, having something that substantial around the fire pit. And then that trip hazard becomes, someone falling into a fire pit. Kind of touching back on why you need something so big is you're going to have sparks coming off of that fire pit. So the other thing is you need a spark guard on that fire pit to try to reduce that, because without the spark guard, and even with the pad itself, you're going to have sparks coming up off of that thing. It's just the natural burning process of the wood. It's going to happen.
What it boils down to with wood is you have to protect that combustible surface. It's going to be larger than the unit itself, right? So if it's only 24-inch fire pit, then you're going to have a 4-foot non-combustible surface that's still a trip hazard, and you're going to have to keep in mind what you want to do and how you want to do it. Now, someone might have a large deck, and that would fit, so that would work, but ultimately the goal is let's not cause any harm or damage to what we have built in our beautiful backyard.
Absolutely. And a couple of the other things to touch on too, a lot of your cities and counties, they may have requirements for like any kind of wood fire pit that has to be a minimum of 20 feet from the house. So that would be something you'd want to check out as well, because you might not even be able to put it on your deck if it's within 20 feet of the home. You want to consider things overhead, trees and things of that nature. Unlike a gas style fire pit where your overhead clearance could be as low as 60 to 82 inches, something of that nature. Wood burning fire pits, you have trees above them hanging over your deck because you have nice shade and things like that. Those kind of things over time could catch on fire as well.
No, that's an excellent point, and that is something to keep in mind for all of our listeners, that even I go to friends and family's houses and they put some stones out in the backyard, to kind of make a circle, and then they build a fire inside of that, and you sit down in the chair and you look up and you're right underneath the tree.
Big old tree.
And it's the fall, and the leaves are all falling, and I just look around like, sometimes curse of knowledge will get you, but I often think, man, I might leave.
Exactly. That willow tree looks nice. I hope it doesn't catch on fire.
You have fire-related questions, and we have answers. You can email us your questions at podcast@woodlanddirect.com or give us a call at 586-221-3638. We would love to be able to answer them right here on the Experts in Fire podcast.
So that's wood burning, and you bring up some really good points on that. Let's move to gas burning, because a lot of times people see gas burning fire pits and they think, I just push a button, it turns on. It's like a grill. You mentioned a grill earlier. And we deal with a lot of manufacturers here, and there are rules for even putting their fire pits onto a combustible surface or a deck in the backyard. So if again, I'm a customer and I'm calling to talk to you, looking for your advice, I want to put this gas burning fire pit on my wood deck. Can I?
First thing you want to do is check with the manufacturers. A lot of the manufacturers will call out whether the product can be put on a wood deck or not, because the decking it's still gas, it is fire. Propane specifically, because propane gas is heavier than air. So it could have that potential if it doesn't have any type of safety valve, if it's a simple matchlight style fire pit, it could have that potential where it builds up with gas up underneath it, and then somebody goes to reignite it, and then you have like this flame up underneath it, and or flame burning under the burner, under the fire pit, between that fire pit and the deck. So you definitely want to first look at the manufacturer specs. What do they recommend? If they don't, then you may be in that same scenario where you have to put some type of barrier down between the fire pit and your wood deck. Natural gas, a little bit different. Natural gas is lighter than air, so that it rises and dissipates up in the air. Typically don't see any issues with natural gas fire pits on wood decks, but there again, always refer back to what the manufacturer suggests for the decking itself.
With the wood burning section, you spoke to things above the unit as well. So are there rules for that with a gas burning fire pit as well?
There are, because a lot of folks have pergolas, or they'll just have a awning that protrudes out over their deck, and they want to know if they can put a gas fire pit there. This again is going to go back to the manufacturer, because some manufacturer, the burners, they use what they call a BTU rating, and you might find something that has a really low BTU rating, a small flame, and their clearance, what they call clearance to combustibles overhead, is going to vary. One fire pit manufacturer could be 5 feet, another one could be 9 feet, depending on the size of the burner. So there again, we always want to refer back to the manufacturer, and they're going to put all that in print. And it's called clearance to combustibles. It's side and overhead. So any type of flame, typically with the gas, a lot of times combustibles to the left and to the right is going to vary as well. To your sides, some may be 3 feet, some may be 10. So we always want to take a look at that information.
No, those are good points, Randy. And just for our listeners to understand, we always refer back to the manufacturer or the owner's manual, because that's the first thing an insurance company is going to ask if there's any kind of claim because there was a fire on your deck or at your house. They're always going to want to know that if the manufacturer said you could do it, then that's going to push them over to have a conversation with the manufacturer. So you want to make sure you're covering yourself as well and know what the rules are and where you're putting this fire.
Absolutely, because, in a lot of cases when folks are having gas lines ran for their fire pits, don't put it on the gas person or the gas plumber, he or she, whomever is running that, because they may not know. This may be their first one, or they've only done a handful and they're just dropping a gas line because you mentioned that you need something that's like 65,000 BTUs for your small little fire pit. And that's what they're going to do. They may not know. So it's real important definitely to always lean back on the information that's provided from the manufacturer so that everybody knows when it's installed.
Yeah, and it's a smart way and a safe way for them to cover themselves, just to make sure they look through the owner's manual and do some of the homework themselves, because that pro isn't always going to be the one that's going to tell you what the rules are. Typically, that pro is going to show up and say, what do you want me to install? I need you to install this, and that's what they're going to do. Some of them, the good ones, are going to be able to look at you and say, you know what, you can't do this, you can't do that, you have to do this, and kind of move it around for you. But really, to be able to educate yourself, everything, just about every fire pit that we sell has either some kind of manual or our team has been trained on where that fire pit itself can go. So that's the value that we try to bring to our customers. So you can always talk to us when you're buying something from us. And then anytime you buy something, even if you didn't get it from us, check the manual first before you try and put it out on a wood deck.
Absolutely. And we have easy access to all that information when somebody's shopping. Even if it's something they're looking at and they're thinking about buying, give us a call, because we can find the information very quickly to say, hey, yeah, no, I'm sorry, you have an 8-foot overhead, you're not going to be able to use that into that space.
And then not just tell them they can't, but maybe to be able to direct them into something that they can use.
Something smaller, absolutely.
What's one of the best stories that you have with somebody putting fire pits in a place that they shouldn't put a fireplace?
I work with a lot of contractors where they just bought a fire pit with no type of safety on it, put it out on the patio, and somebody let that thing just run all night long. And then it went out, and then somebody come out and just relit it, and then it blew the bottom of it out. It was propane. The gas just built up on the bottom of it and blew the fire pit up, blew the decking apart, and it was a hot mess.
Yeah.
Literally,
a
hot mess. Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but that kind of goes back to what we were talking about, in folks not taking a look at the information that's provided by the manufacturer, and then it's incorrectly installed and then misused.
And that's a great point, and I'm glad you brought that up. We will work hand in hand with the professional that's doing the install as well. So we try to help educate that professional. If you're a professional out there listening right now, we have a lot of this knowledge base already in terms of which brands are allowed to do what. So you can lean on us for that type of information. It sounds like that was a scenario where they just did the install because somebody bought it and said, here, put this in, and that's what they did.
Residential properties versus any kind of commercial, multifamily, hotels, resorts, they're two different things. You have a whole different build class of fire pits that you have to go through, electronic ignition stuff for your commercial properties versus your homeowner use. And, homeowner use, a lot of them are going to be like a simple push button ignition system. We're just using, propane tanks like you use for your barbecue grill. You can get the fire pits that have what they call hidden tanks. The tank can go inside of the fire pit itself. I know we've been talking a lot about safety and stuff, but those fire pits are out there. They have to be set at a certain size height so that propane can stand vertically inside of it. But it is something that is offered.
Is there anything else that runs through your head when it comes to putting a fire pit onto a combustible surface?
We would go over everything with the client once again, and just going through and making sure that they understand everything that they're getting from us from a safety standpoint, and then how to operate it, because that's the most important thing. We don't expect folks to know how to operate these fire pits. That's our business. We're experts in fire. They're calling and they want to know about a specific product. So our job is to make sure that we educate them on that so that they make an educated decision on what they're buying. That's one of the most important parts about what we do here at Woodland Direct.
Let's recap real fast. We talked about And this is really a question that I think anybody who's listening to this podcast, the first thing you're going to hear if you call one of our experts in fire here at Woodland Direct is tell me a little about your project. And that's really what Randy's covering when he's talking about this, because he's going to want to know, what kind of surface is this going on? Is this a combustible surface like a wood deck or a composite deck? A little more about your project. Are you looking for wood burning or are you looking for gas burning? What do you want to accomplish by having fire out there on your deck? And obviously, we want to be a part of helping you create an amazing experience out there. But these are the questions that we're going to need answered. Are you looking at a particular manufacturer? And we're going to ask you that question. Is there a certain style you're looking for? Because there are going to be certain rules on that. And then we're going to want to know, is your deck covered? Are there walls around your deck, or is there a roof over your deck? And I think a really good point that you brought up earlier, Randy, that's worth retouching is not just is there a roof, but are there trees? Are there any kind of obstructions above your roof or above your deck that fire could impact at some point while you're enjoying your fire outside?
Absolutely, because as consumers, sometimes we don't think about these other things. We just, fire in the backyard is cool. And this is what we want. Our spouse wants it, the kids want it, somebody wants it in the household. And so some of these other elements we don't think about when we're shopping. And so that's where, all of us technical sales guys, Woodland Direct, that's our job, being experts in fire, answering those questions. And I know that sometimes it could be tedious for somebody if they're just trying to make a purchase. However, we want to make sure that folks are safe out there in what they're doing.
It's all about the experience, and we want every customer that comes in and talks to one of our experts or even purchases online to be able to sit down at the end of their day, whether it's been a long day or a long week, and have an amazing experience around fire. Thanks for joining us on the Experts in Fire podcast. I hope you learned something here today with Randy on what you can or can't put on your wood deck in terms of a fire pit. Join us next week. Our topic will be, what size gas line do I need for my fire pit? See you then.